Okay.
How are you, Harry?
I'm good. Yes, fine. Thank you.
How are you surviving the recent COVID stuff? You keeping well, you and the family?
Yeah, we're keeping well. Listen, we're lucky we've got a garden, we can sit in the garden and, we're not, locked in all day really. We can sit outside and get some fresh air, and we go for a walk once a day as we're allowed to do. So that we're okay, we're fine. Just miss seeing the grandkids and that obviously, and friends, but we've got to make sure we stay in and obey the rules until this clears up.
Yeah. And you've had a busy day today.
Yeah, we're making a TV program for Sky, and me, Jamie, and Tom Davis, who's a comedian. We have guests on. So the first show's we've been rehearsing it today and going through it all. And tomorrow we've got a few footballers coming on, so it should be good fun.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thanks very much for agreeing to join us. It's an honour to host you, and I know the players and some of your supporters are really keen to find out a wee bit more about you and your career, obviously both as a player and a manager. But I think to kick things off, the first question I'm going to ask is about the jungle.
Yeah.
Which might either bring back good memories or bad memories, but we've got one of our players, Tyler, who wants to ask a wee quick question about the jungle. So can we connect Tyler?
Hello.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Harry. My question is, what was the best thing and the most challenging thing about your time in the jungle?
I think, Tyler, the best thing was I met some nice people. I'd never seen the program before. I honestly had never seen 1 second of the show, so I didn't have a clue what to expect, really. I honestly thought you'd get food in there. I mean, my wife kept saying, you're not going to get any food. And I said, oh, listen, don't be silly. I said, there's always a caravan out the back, and you go off set and you'll have a bacon sandwich and a nice cup of tea. But she was right. There was no food, so that was difficult. But I did meet some nice people in there. And obviously the most difficult thing was the lack of food. And it's quite boring, You're sitting there all day waiting to do a trial or something. If you don't get picked for a trial, then you're sitting around the camp all day. There's really nothing to do. And the facilities they're not great, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
But it was a good experience. And I was pleased I'd done it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler.
And as I say, it's one of these things you watch and you think, oh, I don't know if I could do that. But was it really that bad, eating all the bugs?
Yeah.
I remember, is it you and Noel Edmonds did a challenge?
It was, there's no gimmies in there. I mean, it really, the sleeping and the rain comes in at night under the cover there. You got a big cover over the top of the camp, but the rain tended to sleet in really badly. And listen, we all got on with it. As I say, we were lucky. There was all nice people in there, and we all helped each other really. So, and we all keep in touch now. We're on a jungle WhatsApp group, which is, I'm not really into all that stuff much, but they put messages on every day. I come in about once a month and put something on there and say hello to them, but I do follow it.
Brilliant. We actually had one of your jungle mates at a recent event. with a women's event in Fleur East. You know Fleur?
Yeah, oh yeah, she's great. Yeah.
For us.
Great character.
Yeah. So maybe start with your playing career. Obviously, a big chunk of that came from kind of West Ham in Bournemouth. And I've got a question here from John, who wants to know, what was it like playing alongside Sir Bobby Moore during the West Ham days?
It was great. I mean, I went there, left school at 15 and signed for West Ham. And Bobby was young, but he was the captain of the club at that time already, even though he'd probably only been 21 at the time. And Bobby was special. But I mean, we had Bobby, we had Jeff Hurst, we had Martin Peters, 3 players that played in the World Cup winning team. So it was a great time. And we were all local lads, in them days it was different when you read about Celtic winning the European Cup and all the players came within a 6-mile radius of the ground. And probably the same with all the clubs up in Scotland. Same here. We all came from the same area, within 5 or 6 miles of West Ham football ground. And then I think the first time we bought any foreign players, we bought a couple of Scotsmen in, John Cushley from Celtic, and Bobby Ferguson, a goalkeeper. Bobby came from Kilmarnock, and they were the first. Other than that, we were all sort of homegrown. We didn't have any Scots boys or anything Irish at that particular time. We were all very local, but Cush came in with Fergie, and they were great lads, you know.
And then in terms of West Ham, you went on to play with Bournemouth.
Yeah.
That period like?
It was good. I mean, Ted McDougall was here when I came here. Ted played for Scotland a little bit, and he was a striker. We had a lot of good players here. John Bond was the manager, and he left. We were top of the league, and John left and took the job at Norwich, and he took most of the team with him. About 8 players went with him, and all ended up playing in the top division. You know, Ted McDougall, Phil Boyer, a big group of them all became international. David Jones, a centre half, became an international player. He was actually the centre half. Dave handled the ball. I think it was at Anfield when Scotland would have knocked Wales out in a qualifier for the world to go to the World Cup. So I mean, we had lots of good players. And it was a good club. And Bondi left, unfortunately, and took all the players. And from then on, it became very difficult at Bournemouth. And then I went out to America with Bobby Moore and Jeff Hurst and played at Seattle.
And so Stephen McLean from Edinburgh wanted to know, did you ever come across Pele when you were over in the States?
Yeah, I played against Pele a few times out there. The first game I played in America, we flew out, me and Jeff Hurst got out on the Monday, and on the Wednesday, I think it was a Wednesday night, we played against the New York Cosmos to open the new stadium in Seattle. We played in the Kingdome, 66,000 all-seater stadium. It was sold out. Pele, Beckenbauer, all those greats. It was an incredible team they had. They had after Carlos Alberto, the right back who captained Brazil in 1970. Probably the best football team I've ever seen, that Brazilian team, 1970. So it was amazing. And we had a few Scots boys there. Jimmy Robertson who played at Tottenham and Arsenal. Jimmy was a great winger. Gordon Wallace, who played at Dundee and was a prolific goal scorer. Jockey Scott, John McLaughlin. So yeah, we had a great time out there. Really, you know, fantastic place to go, and it was a great time in our lives. I stayed there for 4 years and loved it.
So how did the transition into management come around?
Well, Bobby came out and played. Bobby Moore played at Seattle with us, and Jimmy Gabriel was a manager. Jimmy played for Scotland, played for Everton, Southampton. Jimmy was a great player, midfield player. Old, you know, he came from Dundee, Jimmy, or Dundee United. I wouldn't argue which one it was now, but Jimmy went to Everton, played in the Everton team that won the FA Cup. They beat Sheffield Wednesday in the cup final. End up a great player for Everton. End up at Southampton, came to Bournemouth, and then Jimmy went to America and managed the Seattle Sounders, and he took me over there to play, and then I started doing some coaching with the kids, and Bobby was out there, and I think he said to me, if I get a job, Harry, I want you to come and work with me, you know. So that was really how I got into it. And my first job actually was with Bobby Moore at Oxford City. It was only non-league, but the chairman had big ideas about winning the non-league and getting into the league and building the club up. And he pumped a lot of money into it, built great facilities. But it never happened, but that was my first year in actual coaching, was with Bobby at Oxford City, and then I came to Bournemouth with David Webb, and worked with Webby. Webby played for Chelsea in the cup-winning team when they beat Leeds, and so yeah, it was a great experience and great times for me.
And then I suppose kind of quite emotional for the chance to go to West Ham.
Where was that? Sorry.
It was. It must have been quite emotional when you got the chance to go back to West Ham.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, great time to go there, having grown up there as a kid and everything, you know. And we produced some incredible players. Suddenly we got 6 kids come out of our youth team, you know, Rio Ferdinand, Frank Lampard, Michael Carrick, Joe Cole, Jermaine Defoe, Glenn Johnson, all went on to play for England, winning Champions League, Premier League winners, you know. They all did amazing things in the game. All played for England many, many times. All came out the youth team at West Ham in that period when I was there. So it was an amazing time for me. I used to go and watch the kids play on Saturday morning at the training ground at Chadwell before home games. And I'd get there, 11 o'clock kick-off. I'd watch the first half, 15 minutes of the second half, jump in my car, get to the ground about 15 minutes away and get there, obviously, for the first team game. But every Saturday when the kids, we were at home, I would go and watch the kids play. And we went to every youth game. Me and Frank Lampard Senior, we went all over the country that year. We won the FA Youth Cup one year, and then we got beat in the final by Liverpool another year when Michael Owen gave us massive problems that day. They got him out of school. He'd only been 15, and he was incredible. So, yeah, we won the FA Youth Cup. We beat Coventry 9-0 over 2 legs, which was unbelievable. 20-odd thousand people, 28,000 people, whatever, at Upton Park to see the final. Joe Cole, Michael Carrick played in that team. They were fantastic.
Brilliant. And then in terms of the West Ham, I've got a few West Ham themed questions from your manager.
Yeah.
What I've seen some about another former Celtic player who you signed. So I'm going to go to one of the projects we work alongside, Phoenix Futures. Is Phoenix Futures there, Cameron? Phoenix Residential.
How are you doing? All right, David.
Hi, how you doing? You got a question for Harry?
Yep, here's one of the boys wanting to ask Harry a question, all right?
Okay.
How you doing?
Right, Harry.
How are you?
No bad, no bad. Who is which Scottish player do you wish you'd signed?
Oh, listen, there's been so many great. I couldn't have signed him, but I'll be honest with you, I'll never forget Scotland playing at Wembley. Jimmy Johnson, Willie Henderson, incredible. Every team in England at that time, every the good teams, all had a backbone, didn't they? Dennis Law, Ian St John, going way back. Jim Baxter came to England. So many incredible. Frank McClintock at Arsenal, George Graham. Every team, had great Scottish players in it. Kenny Dalglish, Kenny, imagine what a player Kenny was. I first met Kenny, quickly when he came to England, Kenny, when he was 14, and he came to West Ham. Him and another little guy, a little centre forward who he played with in the Scottish youth team. And I used to pick him up. I was about 19. I used to pick him up in the mornings, take him to the training ground. I had a little car, and the manager, Ron Greenwood, asked me to pick him up on the way. And they, oh my God, we had a practice match on the Saturday. Kenny he might have been not quite 15. And we played the first team and reserves. And Ron Greenwood, the manager of West Ham, put Kenny up front in the first team. And he scored a goal. It was a goal that you'd seen him score 100 times since then in his pro career, where he got on the edge of the box, backed into the centre half, ball came into him, he dropped his shoulder, turned and bent it right in the far corner. All the players, Bobby Moore, everybody, we all started clapping. And we said to the manager, Ron Greenwood, are we going to get him? Will he come here? He said, what a player, He said, no. He said, he's having a look round all different clubs. He said, but he'll go to Celtic. And he was right, he did.
Amazing. And then talking about, we kind of mentioned Paolo Di Canio. How did that come around? Because obviously, when West Ham signed him, I think it was not long after what had happened at Sheffield.
Oh yeah, that's when I took him. I mean, I used to watch Di Canio play for Celtic, and he was like a little kid in school, He'd want to take corners, free kicks, everywhere the ball. He was running, getting the ball, taking a corner, and a genius. I thought, what a footballer! I thought he was a genius, Then he went to Sheffield Wednesday, and we used to go there with West Ham. And they'd say, whatever you do, when they get a throw-in or whatever, anywhere in their half, the nearest man, go and sit on him until we get the ball back. Because if it came into him, he'd do something incredible and score or make a goal. And then when he obviously pushed Mr. Alcock over the referee that day, against Arsenal, and suddenly he was available. They suspended him, then he came back, and they wanted him out of the club. And I bought him, and I remember reading a newspaper, on a Sunday newspaper. I think it was a Sunday People at the time, and their top sports reporter, he wrote, Redknapp walks a tightrope with no safety net under him, signing Di Canio. And in the article, he said, Di Canio will get in the sack. But he came to West Ham, and it was a big gamble. I took a chance, really. But I just thought he was an amazing footballer. And he turned out to be one of the great players in West Ham's history. When you talk about the great players and West Ham's best ever team, you ask the fans and he would be in that team.
And then, so with the Canio, because he proved to be like a real kind of talisman for you. Dan McLean, one of our players in Edinburgh, we often talk about world-class players, but what separates a great player and a world-class player? Is there something, is it a work rate and so on? What?
No, just that ability to do something no one else can do, really. If, you know, Di Canio could suddenly, even if we were playing against a better team than us at West Ham, you always felt you had a chance. If Paolo got on the ball in that final third, something could happen, and something magical. He could beat two players and bend one in. And, you know, that's what they do, isn't it? Ronaldo, Messi, that's what makes them apart from everybody else. They've got that incredible ability to do something special at any given time in a game. And Paolo had that ability. He had that talent, you know. And I loved him. He was hard work. He wasn't easy to manage, I must be honest. He was an absolute perfectionist. And he would train unbelievable. He was in such condition. He never drunk, ate the right foods, coming on Sunday morning when the players were off. He had his own fitness coach. He used to be the coach at Milan. He would come in, the Italian guy with him, and he'd work with him in the mornings for an hour and a half, just stretching, warming down. And he was amazing. He'd come to me. I mean, some days he'd come to me, David, Gaffer, we are warming up. Razor Ruddock, we are supposed to be stretching. Razor Ruddock, oh, last night I drank 12 pints. I ate 4 hamburgers. We are supposed to be professional. How can we play when people behaving like this, you know? I used to say, don't worry, Paolo, I'll have a chat with Razor, you know. But I never sorted Razor out, really. I used to try, but very different characters.
And that wasn't the only Paolo you signed for West Ham. There was I remember reading something about, was it Paulo Futre?
I had Paulo Futre, yeah. I had Paulo One Chop.
Yeah.
I took One Chop as well. Futre was one of the great players in world football. You know, when you talk about the great footballers, he was one of them. And we had one particular instance where we went to Arsenal first game of the season, you know, and I've got all these kids there, Frank, Rio, all in the dressing room, and I took the team. And he joined us about 3 weeks before the start of the season, Paulo Futre, from Milan. His contract was up and he was a free agent, and there was a few clubs chasing him, and I managed to get him to West Ham. And we come in the dressing room, and I took the team sheet in. Sunny day, 44,000 people at Highbury, looking forward to a new season. We're ready to go. He was on corners, he's taking free kicks, he's doing everything. He was fantastic talent, you know. Number 10, long black hair, dribble, left foot, run with the ball, do incredible things. I took the team sheet in, came back in the dressing room, and I walked in, and the kit man, Eddie Gillum, said to me, Harry, we've got a problem. Futre, he's number 16. He said he won't wear number 16, he wants to be number 10. I said, but we've got squad numbers, Eddie. We have to put the squad in at the start of the season. And he came late, and number 10, Moncur, had already got me give it to Moncur. So we give him the lowest number available, which was 16. He said, yeah, but he won't wear it. I said, well, suddenly that came up to me, Futre, 10, not 16. He said, Futre, Pele, Maradona, Platini, 10, not 16. I went, yeah, but I understand, Paolo, but we have squad numbers, and today's the first game of the season. We had to send the squad in. You came late, so the only number left was 16. So we can't change it today. I'm sorry, but no. 16. No, I don't play 16. He threw the shirt on the floor, kicked the West Ham shirt up the wall. All the kids are sitting under the manager. Now it's 2:10 on the first Saturday of the season. And I'm stood in the middle of the dressing room at Highbury. All the kids are looking at me, Frank, Lampard, Rio Ferdinand, Joe Cole, Carrick. As in, what's the manager going to do here? You know? I was sitting, look, Paolo, put your shirt on. Just get changed. We'll sort it out on Monday. No, got the shirt again, threw it out. I said, look, either put the shirt on or piss off, in so many words. And with that, he did. Got his gear and he was gone. He went out the dressing room. suddenly we hadn't even kicked off yet. It's 2:15 now. Frank Lampard said to me, Harry, what are we going to do? We've got 10 men. We're kicking off in 45 minutes. I said, don't worry. I'll go and see the referee. We'll have to change the team sheet, put somebody else in. I went to the referee. He said, you can't change it really without Mr. Wenger's permission. So I got asked anyway. I sent for Mr. Wenger. He comes in. Arsene's a bundle of fun, isn't he? As you know, I mean, he's come in. So I told him the story. He said, I think this is tactics. This is not, you know. I said, no, Arsene, it's really not tactics. Frank Lampard filled the team sheet in and he put Foutre's name on there by mistake. I said, he's not even here. He's made a mistake. Well, of course he wasn't there. He was on his way back to Portugal, getting a taxi back to Heathrow Airport. But anyway, he let us make a change. We bought somebody else in the team. They still beat us, I think 3-1, but that was the start of Foutre. Anyway, eventually, Mccoy, who had the shirt, let him have the number 10. He gave John 2 weeks holiday in his villa on the Algarve. He had the best villa in Portugal, apparently. And he gave John, let him have the number 10 shirt. John took 16, but unfortunately, about 8 weeks later, he done his knee and had to retire. So it was a shame. But I mean, he could have been, but that wasn't a great start. I mean, we had a massive fallout over it, me and Foutre, but we sorted it out in the end.
Brilliant. Okay, so and then West Ham, you went to Portsmouth, which came as a surprise because you never really expected to take the manager job.
No, it was a surprise. Milan Mandrick was the chairman and asked me if I'd go there as director of football. And then I went there. I'll be honest, after about 3 or 4 weeks, I thought, what am I doing here? Really, it's not where I want to be. You know, I got offered the Leicester job, drove up to Leicester, met John Elson, the chairman. He offered me the job on the Friday night. I drove home. I don't know if I want to go to Leicester, you know, and whatever. I thought, hang on, see what else comes up. And I left it, and the season drifted away. Portsmouth were in the bottom 4 with about 4 or 5 games to go. And Milan said he kept sacking the manager, and then in the end he said, look, I said, I don't want to be the manager of Portsmouth, Milan. It's not saying I want to be, you know. But he said, look, you know, if you don't take the job, I'm going to resign, sell the club. So I took it for the last 4 games. We managed to scrape a result and stay up, a couple of results. And then the following year, he begged me to take it, and I took it in the Championship. And that first year, at the start of the, you know, 2 weeks before the season, I thought we had absolutely no chance. I thought if we don't finish in the bottom 8, I'll be bottom 6, I'll be pleased, you know. And then I signed Paul Merson. And when Merson walked in the door 4 days before the season started, it was like one man, not me, him, turned the team around. He was so good that season. He came in. In fact, a mate of mine rang me before I signed Merson and said, Harry, I'm going to have £1,000 each way in your team at 33-1. I said, Alan, don't waste your money. We haven't got a chance. I said, if we don't finish. I said, if I can finish at the bottom 6, I'll be delighted. Merson walked in. And suddenly off we went. He played number 10. I let him play a free role. He made goals. He scored goals. He was the best player in the Championship by a million miles. Aston Villa wanted him out when I took him. John Gregory didn't want him. And they paid 3/4 of his wages, and we paid 1/4 of his wages. So it was a great deal for us. And we went from the start of the season, top of the league, won the first game, won the second. Off we went on a run and never looked back. We led from start to finish and won the league. My mate who was going to bet us at 33-1, who I told not to have the bet, has never spoke to me since. But that was how it goes. We won the league. That was the main thing.
Right. And obviously, Merson made a big difference there. So I've got a question in terms of players that you've coached. So I'm going to go to Peter Wood, who's in Aberdeen, one of the Aberdeen guys. So is Peter there?
Yeah. Hello.
Right. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Harry. How you doing?
How's your team doing this year?
Well, we're all right. We're not bad. We're getting there. We'll hopefully come back a lot stronger and maybe take on a cup one day. Yeah.
I came up the other year for the cup final, actually. We played ever so well that day, Aberdeen, against Celtic. It was a great game. It was a good game and just got beat in the end, but I thought Aberdeen played ever so well.
No, I appreciate it, Harry. I'm pretty sure I can say thanks very much for even taking this time to speak to us. It's brilliant.
Pleasure.
I was just wondering, my question is, obviously you've managed a few teams, you've played with a lot of players. but who would you say was the most memorable player? Obviously, spoke about Pablo Di Canio, but who's your most memorable player and why?
I enjoyed, you know, if I look back, I enjoyed managing Luka Modric at Tottenham. He was a fantastic boy, great professional, great player. When I went there, he played on the left wing, and Gareth Bale was another great player, was playing left back. And I made the switch. I pushed Bale forward, and I pushed Modric inside. And Luka, I thought Luka was an amazing footballer. They said to me, I said, I'm going to play him central. Tuesday, we played Arsenal on a Tuesday night at home. About the third or fourth game I was at the club. And the coaching staff who were there before I went there said, you can't play him there, Harry. I said, why? He said, he's not strong enough. He'll get murdered. He said, he can only play out on the left wing, coming in that little pocket. He can't play in there. It's too physical. I said, no, he can play anywhere. He's that good a footballer. And I stuck him in central and brought Gareth in at left wing. And he played there, Luka. He ran the game. It was Arsenal. We beat Arsenal that night. On the Saturday, we were playing Chelsea. And they said, you're not going to play him there against Chelsea, are you? I was like, yeah. I said, well, it's different, Chelsea. They've got Ballack, they've got Lampard, and they've got Essien, and they're so strong in there. Luka would get murdered. I said, no, he won't. And we played him there, and we beat Chelsea on the Saturday. And he never played anywhere else again. He was a great player. I absolutely loved him, you know. B. John Hartson was a great signing for me. I was at West Ham, and we were going to get relegated. There was no danger. We were bottom of the league, couldn't score a goal. And I said to the chairman, I can't keep you up. I think our leading goal scorer had about 3 goals that year. We'd play well, but just we had no one to score. And people who don't score, don't score. I think you can look at your team at the start of the year and go, yeah, he'll get me 12 goals, he'll get me 18, and you won't be far wrong. This midfield player might get me 6. And you're same people every year who get the same, roughly the same amount of goals. And we never had, and I took Hartson and Kitson, and they came in with about 12 games to go. And they just absolutely turned the season around. Big John, I love Big John Hartson. He was great for me. He was unplayable at that time. He came from Arsenal and he bullied everybody. He just smashed everybody, beat everybody in the air. He beat them up and they just couldn't live with him. He was amazing. So he was a great signing for me as well, Big John.
And then obviously we touching on Luka Modric, what a team you had when you were at Spurs, you know, do you think you guys could have had a chance? I mean, because you
absolutely. I felt we got to Christmas and we was right there, second in the league. And I said to Daniel, look, we got 1 or 2 injuries, let's get a centre forward. And I was trying to get somebody in, Luis Suarez, and you know, he was at that time. He'd already, you know, could have gone in for him, get him from Holland, and we were looking at centre half and centre forward, but they didn't want to invest at the time. The club, and I ended up taking 2 free transfers just to give me some bodies in the squad. Good players, Louis Saha, who'd been a great player, but was now coming to the end of his career on a free transfer. And Ryan Nelson, I took from Blackburn, who'd been a great player as well, centre half. But he was coming to the end. But I took them 2 because I just needed to thicken the squad up. If we'd have invested in that window and that time, I think we would have been very close. You know, good players. I had Ledley King. I mean, Ledley King was an amazing. Ledley didn't train 1 day of the week. His knee was so bad, it would swell up like a balloon. His knee after a game. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he'd been the icing all day, ice bucket treatment, never run, never went down. Maybe got on the bike and do a little bit on the bike. Friday morning, he'd come out with a physio. He'd jog 2 laps of the pitch at like 50-year-old man's pace, just plod round. And he'd give me the thumbs up. That meant he was fit, he was okay. He'd play the next, and when he did that, I used to think, we'll win tomorrow, Ledley's fit. He was that good, and he'd go out and play, never train. And then the same thing, he'd play on a Saturday, be incredible, and then not do nothing again till the following Saturday when he played again the following Saturday. I couldn't imagine how great he would have been if he'd trained.
Yeah, because he retired pretty early as well, wouldn't you? I think he was.
Yeah, his knee was. Dave had such a bad knee, you know. He had a chronic knee injury.
Yeah, so
his knee would just blow up like a balloon.
Yeah. So keeping on players, I've got a question from Andy Sinclair. So if we can click to Andy regarding players that you've managed. Is Andy Sinclair there? Yep.
Sure am. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Andy.
And we got Jonah here as well.
Hey, Spurs fan.
He's got quite a few football strips, to be fair.
Huh?
I was going to ask Harry. Obviously, you've managed a lot of players over the years. Who's been the most challenging? Who's despite everything you've done, who's not really listened to the instructions?
Who's the most challenging player?
Yeah, to manage.
Probably Di Canio. You know, Paolo would be, he'd come in some mornings, he'd walk in, he'd have his sunglasses on, he'd be dressed like a film star, he'd be singing Volare, and he'd walk in, oh, well, that's good, Paolo's in a good mood today. The next day he'd come in, he'd kick your doors, he'd walk past, and he'd be he's calling this club is this, and this is, you know, and you, oh my God, no, this is going to be a difficult day today. But yeah, Paolo was quite challenging, but he was such a perfectionist and such an amazing professional, you know. But he did have his moods, and if people didn't match up to his standards, he could be difficult. But I love managing him. He was a great talent, you know. That was what I enjoyed most. He was an incredible talent. And
we're going to go into the topic just without going off track a wee bit, but we've got some friends from Portugal who are referees at the Homeless World Cup, which you attended,
right.
Harry. You attended the Homeless World Cup in 2015. So is Nuno there? He's got a question about referees.
Nuno, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm from Portugal. My question is to Sir Harry. What is the relationship with the referees?
My relationship?
Yeah.
My relationship was always good. Always good. You know, I don't, you know, I know how difficult this job is. Now we have VAR. It's still difficult. You can still make mistakes. We can watch things so many times that we have action replays. It's the most difficult job in the world. I mean, you know, it's so I have great sympathy. You know, it's so hard. We watch replay and we're still going, was it a foul? Is it a foul? We're not. You had over the years you've had that 1 second to make that split decision. And even, as I say, even with VAR, when sometimes we see things happen and we're not sure whether it's a foul or not a foul, or whether it's a handball or not a handball. So, but my relationship has always been good. And I've had many good players, as I say, from Paulo Futre was an amazing footballer. I had Danny. Remember Danny? Good-looking Danny, looked like a film star. I took Danny. He was a sport in Lisbon. Pedro Mendes. Pedro Mendes was a great player for me at Portsmouth. I loved him. Pedro, fantastic footballer. So, you know, Hugo Porfirio. I've had lots of good Portuguese players over the years. And but you had the number one player probably. If I had one player in the world, I know it's a toss-up, Messi, Ronaldo. I think maybe I take Ronaldo. I think he's incredible. He scores so many goals in every level, international, Champions League, whatever. Amazing.
Brilliant. And then after Spurs, you went to QPR, was that right?
Yeah.
Spell at QPR, and then you finally finished your kind of managerial career, maybe, with Birmingham City.
Yeah.
And what was it like at those two clubs? Did you enjoy your time there?
Good, yeah. I went to QPR, and, you know, when I left, they were stuck at the bottom of the league, and it was difficult. They had lots of players earning miles too much money. And really, there was some not, you know, I wouldn't say great pros there. There was some good lads, and there was some others there as well that, you know, you couldn't get rid of all that big contracts, long contracts. It was very difficult. And we ended up that my first year, but also I went there, we were stuck at the bottom, and I couldn't get them out of trouble. We ended up going down. But the following year, we got promoted. We went to Wembley and won in the playoffs. Beat Derby a little bit forward, came under pressure with 10 men, played with 10 men for the last 20, 25 minutes or whatever, hanging on a bit, and then we hit them. Bobby Zamora scored an amazing goal. QPR, I enjoyed they were a good club, good chairman, Tony Fernandez, lovely man. I enjoyed my time there. And then I went to Birmingham. 3 games to go. I got a phone call. I'm sitting at home, retired. I got a phone call on a Saturday night from somebody rang me. Said, Harry, would you take Birmingham for the last 3 games of the season? They look like they're in the bottom 3. I said, no, I'm not interested really. You know, they said, well, look, they belong to they've got Chinese owners. They're in London. They want to meet you. Would you meet them? I said, listen, I'm not really interested, 3 games. And he said, well, it looks a bit, I said, all right, I'll get in my car. I'll come to London. So I drove to London, met them, and they asked me, I said, they were nice people. I said, okay, look, I'll take the 3 games. I didn't look at the 3 games. We hadn't won. I think we'd won 1 game in 25. One of my favourite footballers and favourite people of all time, Franco Zola, Gianfranco was a manager. I mean, and a great guy, a great football man, Zola, but he couldn't get a tune out of him. 25 games, I think 1 win. But I took it, and when I looked at the fixtures, I thought, what have I done here? First game up, Huddersfield at home, who are going for automatic promotion. So they're fighting to get in the top 2. They've got everything to play for. Second game, Aston Villa away, which is a local derby, but Villa obviously had a very good team. And then the last game, Bristol City away, who had been 10 games unbeaten, and were a very, very, very good side. And I thought, oh my God, how am I supposed to get cut? Anyway, we play Huddersfield first game. We have a man sent off. Che Adams got sent off after 10 minutes, and we're 0-0, and we beat them 2-0. And they were second off in the league at that time when we played them. And it dropped them out the top 2. And we beat them 2-0. It was an amazing result, amazing performance with 10 men for 80 minutes. We then went to Villa, played ever so well, got beat 1-0 by a penalty when really no way we deserved to lose. Now we've got to go to Bristol City and win last game of the season. If the other teams, any of them win, we've got to, at the time we would have, if the season had finished then, we'd have scraped out on goal average. But I'm getting the scores coming in. All the other teams are winning. Blackburn were winning 3-0 at Brentford or somewhere, and somebody else, not Forest, who were down there, they were winning. Everybody was winning, so we had to win at Bristol City. Anyway, we scored just before half time and hung on to grim life and managed to stay up. We won 2 out of 3 games. And they asked me to take the job, the owners, and I took it. So I'd do 1 year, and it was, I believe you me, it was difficult. After 4 games, I knew I was gone. The season started. Other people wanted to bring the players in. Everybody had a pick. Everybody I wanted. I was getting. They had someone better in their opinions, and I didn't enjoy it really. The fans were great. The club was great, but it was just very difficult to manage. I found it difficult.
And so I've got another question here. There's loads of questions. I'm just trying to make them fit.
Okay.
So I've got Lee there looking to ask a question about player signings. Is Lee there?
Can you hear me, David?
Hi, Lee. Yeah, hear you.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Harry. How you doing?
My
question. I'm a Celtic fan.
So, yeah, another title this year.
Yeah, hopefully, God willing. I'm actually for Fife, so my boy and that they support Raith Rovers. So
I've been to Raith Rovers a few times over the years.
Yeah.
I played in Scotland with a boy long before your time. He was a great player for Raith Rovers. Look him up, Gordon Wallace.
Is there anybody that you had the opportunity to sign and you never, and you later regretted it?
Well, I met Eden Hazard. Joe Cole rang me one day and he said, Harry, I'm playing with the best player I've ever played with at Lille. I said, Joe, that's a bold statement. You play with some great players at West Ham, Chelsea, England, Liverpool. He said, no, this is the best player I play with. He said, he's a genius. Really? Eden Hazard. So I went over and watched him. I went, my God. It was like watching Jimmy Johnson or somebody dribble. He had this low sense of gravity where he'd go past people. He could suddenly go from 0 to 100 in 5 yards. It was like, I went back, asked the club to get him, but I think Daniel Levy couldn't agree terms or, didn't want to pay that money at that time for him. So we didn't get him, but he would have been an amazing player for Tottenham, for anybody. I thought Hazard was I thought he was an amazing player.
Brilliant.
He'd have been the one probably, you know.
And what player are you glad you missed out on?
Glad I don't know this. Oh, it's a difficult one to answer that one. I can't.
Maybe related to George Weah.
Oh, George. No, that wasn't. I was his relation. Yeah, I mean, I was at the West Ham training ground, and the phone goes. We used to have it in them days. We didn't have a secretary. It was like you had a phone at the training ground. It was on the wall. It was a pay phone, but you didn't put coins in. It used to add the number that people could ring you. So if you answered the phone, it was actually in the corridor. All the players were walking by, having their cups of tea. There was no privacy at all. And then suddenly one of the boys, Gaffer, there's a phone call for you. Oh, hello, Mr. Redknapp. Yeah, George Weah. I'm thinking, good luck. He's a World Footballer of the Year, you know. Oh yeah, how you going, George? He went, I'm good. I see your team play. He said, they're very good. You play fantastic football, but you can't score the goals. No, I said, no. I said, why don't you come and play for us, George? I'm having a wind-up. It's some idiot ringing me up. He said, yeah. He said, no, I can't. You know, I'm at Milan and it's difficult. But I have a player. My cousin is a fantastic player. Really, George? I'm thinking it's a wind-up. But anyway, George, how are things at Milan? I think, no. I said, how's the team looking? I thought that would do him. He's gone through the team, how they're playing, what system they're playing. And he's got every player's nut. I thought, this is George Weah. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, he's on about his cousin. But I went, yeah, well, let me have a think about it, George. Lucky for me, he rung Graham Souness after he'd rung me. And Graham Souness took his cousin. And actually, that was on a Wednesday. Put him in the squad for the Saturday at home to somebody. Put him on a sub after 20 minutes. They got an injury and subbed him 10 minutes later because he was so useless. And I dodged a bullet big time there.
Brilliant. So maybe we'll just touch on, obviously we're here in Scotland. We've got a lot of Scottish football fans. Was there any players kind of over the last, when you were a manager of Spurs or kind of Portsmouth, was there any players that you would have liked to have signed from either Celtic or Rangers or Hibs or Hearts? Was there any players that you would have thought, I'd love to get him in my team?
Well, yeah, there's obvious. Listen, we have to be honest. And when we, you know, years ago, as I said to you earlier, all the great teams had great Scottish players. Every team, full up with Scotsmen, incredible players, incredible talent. You know, we you know, we're all being truthful. We've been through a spell where, you know, the great Scottish player disappeared. It was incredible. They suddenly became a little bit of a whatever species, you know, that was no longer around. And we all said, what's happened to the great Scottish footballers? You know, you got back Billy Brem, when he was at Leeds, and every team had them, you know. Dave Mccoy, when people talk to me about great players, I'm getting off the subject. The best player I ever played for Tottenham, ever. I know we can talk about Glenn Hoddle. You can talk about, for me, the best player ever to play for Tottenham was Dave Mccoy. He was the most incredible footballer you'd ever seen. He could do everything. He was hard as nails. He could play. He was a leader. Unbelievable. When he played in midfield at Tottenham, in that great Tottenham double winning team when I grew up, when I used to train at Tottenham as a 14-year-old, with a fellow called John White. John came from Falkirk to Tottenham. Most fantastic footballer. Got killed. He was 24 when he got killed playing. He was on the golf course I think it might be Enfield somewhere playing golf. He got struck by lightning. 24 years of age. What a footballer, John White. But no, there were so many great Scottish players. I've diversity. I've even forgot what the question was now. But I could talk about Dave Mccoy all day, John White, all the great players, you know.
And do you still keep an eye on
any Scottish players I would like to have signed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you know, there's some, the boy McGinn at Villa, you know, when I was at Birmingham, the scout came back and absolutely loved him, said he's a proper player, real good player. So what about the little kid? I love the kid at Chelsea. Oh, my God. Billy Gilmore.
Yeah.
What a player he looks. I mean, he's a throwback. it's a throwback to the old days. You know, it'd be a throwback to the great Scottish midfield players. You know, never give the ball away. Just incredible talent. I mean, he could, if he just continues. They tell me he's a great lad, good family. He's going to, hopefully, he's going to be a top player. I love watching him. The 2 games that he played, man of the match, both games. Liverpool, I think it was Liverpool and Everton. Absolutely. Was it Liverpool and Man United? His first game.
I know it was Liverpool. I think it was Liverpool, Everton.
Everton, yeah. He was amazing. Run the game, just fantastic footballer. So hopefully there's going to be a few more players coming through now, you know, that we can, you know, the emergence of this. There's some good young players in Scotland, they tell me now. So hopefully the future looks good.
Brilliant. So I'm going to go back into some of the questions now. And a lot of these might be just general questions as well from some of the guys. Let me see. Okay, we'll take one from one of the youngsters, David Jr., David Morgan.
Hey, David.
Hey, I'm in. Hello. So Harry, it's a great. We're both David. I'm here with my son in Glasgow.
Okay, good.
For joining us and for Street Soccer for setting this up. And the question I had was, Harry, which achievements are you more proud of? Your own successes or those of your own son?
Well, I think it's great when your boy plays, you know, and you know, it was great to see him sort of, you know, he always wanted to be a footballer, and to see him, you know, do what he always wanted. I love going to watch Jamie play, you know, when he was a player. And, you know, we were very football. I mean, it was amazing, really, the family. You know, me and Frank Lampard Sr. married 2 sisters who knew nothing about football, never been to football, certainly weren't football groupies, never had a clue about, never went to a game. But they, and we both had boys that ended up, you know, playing at the top level, which was great. And I think you do take an awful lot of pride out of that. So I did enjoy that. And I love watching my grandkids play now, David. You know, that's the highlight of my week is Sunday mornings, whatever, going to watch the boys play, you know, whether it's Jamie's boy or whether it's our other son, Mark's kids. I just love going to watch the kids play football, you know. And so, yeah, I took a lot of pride out of following Jamie in his football career.
Right. And then there's another young, so is Brandon Lee there? Brandon Lee Kilpatrick, you're looking for some tips for as an aspiring young footballer.
Brandon, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you, Harry?
I'm good.
My question is, what qualities for a 16-year-old would you get? Like, what advice would you give for somebody like me to like become professional?
Yeah, practice. Frank Lampard, when I was manager at West Ham, it was okay. Wasn't a bad little young kid, 15, 16. Every day after training, he would be out on that training ground 2 hours after everybody else had gone home. I'm not exaggerating. I'd look out my window at 4 o'clock in the middle of winter, dark, rainy. He'd be out there with a bag of balls, shooting, left foot, right, doing his sprints, dribbling round cones, practicing. Made himself into an incredible footballer, played 106, 107, I don't know how many times for England, 20 goals every year from midfield. He practiced like no one, he made himself into a great player. And if you practice hard enough, master that football, work on your stuff. If you're a bit slow, every day, do your little sprints, sharp sprints. Practice whatever you have to practice that you need work on. That's the only way.
Okay, Brandon, did you get that? Brilliant. Well, listen, Harry, it's been great to chat to you and great for you to answer.
It's been a pleasure. Any way I can help in the future, you got my number, give me a ring.
No problem. Well, listen, on behalf of everybody at Street Soccer, thanks very much, and I hope you and your family stay safe over the next period.
Good luck, guys. Keep up the great work. David, cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.